is happening, people. So this is Wildlife Adventures, and normally I don't do vehicle fixes, but from time to time when I find something on my vehicle, this is a 2014 F-150 3.5 EcoBoost, and I have had a few issues, and like all good YouTubers, when we find something that's easy to share, we do so. And I thank all of those who shared anything about the electronic throttle body on their vehicles. I appreciate it. So today I wanted to share with you really quick, if you've had any issues, especially if you've had a code to come up like the P-2112 code, which I had come up on this vehicle, and I'll explain that in just a few minutes. And that code links right back to the electronic throttle body that is located on the top of the motor. And that throttle actuator control system, I really didn't know anything about it myself, as many of you. Like I said, I am mechanically minded, but I am not a mechanic. So let me tell you and share my experience of what happened. Before we go on to see if this is kind of what's going on with your vehicle. So this issue started about a week ago. Cranked the truck up, normal, started up the road, and vehicle went into limp mode after about maybe a mile. Went into limp mode, wrench came up on the system. So I didn't panic. So I pulled up on the side of the road, cut the truck off, and waited about approximately a minute. Cranked the truck up, it went, idled good, put it in gear, started moving off. I didn't hear any issues, internal issues in the motor. Started up the road. Immediately after about 100 feet, it went back into limp mode, and I limped it up to where I could get off of the road to a good spot. Cut the truck off for another minute, just sit there. But in meanwhile, when I came up the road, I shifted the vehicle down into 1, 2, 3 drive, made sure that the transmission was shifting smoothly. So I was eliminating any major mechanic issues in my own mind, trying to troubleshoot this. Second time I cranked it up, made it approximately a quarter of a mile, went back into limp mode. Pulled up on the side of the road. This time I waited about 5 minutes. Didn't know if the system would reset or what was going on. I knew that the system had shut the vehicle down. At this point, I was debating on whether to call a tow truck. And I said, well, I'm gonna give it one more shot. I hated to limp it all the way home, which was about another 10 miles. So after about 5 minutes, cranked it up, put it in gear, held my foot on the gas this time, and gave the engine some gas. And like I was maybe checking the brakes, and the engine revved up good. So put it in gear, came on home. So just so happens that afternoon, my son came in to eat supper with us, and he had a reader. He said, well, let's hook it up to the truck. So immediately the 2112 code came up, which is this electronic throttle body right here that you see. Now I unhooked this pipe here just so we could see this for this demonstration, and I have already replaced this throttle body right here. So quickly, I started doing some research online, looking at YouTube videos, reading up on that particular code to make sure that I was satisfied that that's what it is, and that's what you're going to do. You're going to watch this video to make sure that you're satisfied before you go out and spend $100 or so on parts and take the time to change them out. And so I was fairly certain that this was the issue. So I went to my NAPA store, and I was expecting to spend about $200, and I bought this throttle body here for, I think it was about $110 from the NAPA store. And one of the reasons I did not clean it and I replaced it was because of the electronic chip in it, and you're going to see that here. I'm going to take the side off and show it to you. Straight head screwdriver, 5/16 wrench, 8mm wrench, and the throttle body. So real quick, I'm going to show you guys why I decided to go ahead and switch this out versus cleaning it. Now I'm going to take these star head screws. I think this is a 21. And I had never seen the inside. I had never seen the inside of a actuator control system, but this is what it looks like. Boom. You see you have all these gears in here. It's just a little motor here. This gear turns this one. Of course it turns this one. And as you can see on the inside, when I activate this gear, it turns that flap to allow more airflow. But all of this is controlled by this little motherboard here, right there. And that in turn, I'm assuming this is a magnet here. It's this controls this to actuate or to open and close. So the reason I decided to go ahead and replace it is when I saw that this was electronic, it had all this electronic, and this is just a little motherboard, I figured that the issue was in this motherboard and not actually this flap sticking. Now, this flap is definitely dirty. As you can see inside of it, it's definitely dirty. On the inside. And like many of you, I thought, well, I can clean this and I'll be okay. But after I once saw this, I said, I better change this whole thing. And that's why I changed it out. So real quickly, if you're going to change, and like I said, I've removed this just so we can see this. Now, the first thing you're going to do is you're going to take your 5/16 wrench, and you're going to loosen this nut right here, and you're going to remove the negative side from this battery. And that keeps, you're going to be dealing with some electronic stuff, and that keeps anything electronic from shorting out. So remove this completely so it isn't touching. Second thing you're going to do, there's going to be a little red clip here. You're going to take that little red clip, move it back. You're going to mash this clip on the inside, and you're going to remove this connection right here. This one right here. You're going to completely remove. So you're going to remove this connection here, and that disconnects the electronic part from the throttle body. On the back side of this pipe that you see here, there's a hose here. I disconnected it. You can see it right here. That just pulls right off. To disconnect these two hoses, there's a connection here. Just loosen that, raise this one up. There's another one here coming off the air filter box that is here. I took the screwdriver, just loosened that up. And then there's another connection here. There's another clamp here that you have to loosen up on this back side and remove this Y piece here. Set it right off. Now this is easy, guys. Now I couldn't find any 8mm sockets. I didn't want to go purchase one, but there's 4 screws. One here on this corner, one on the bottom. And you take your wrench and you loosen this connection here. This is a rubber boot that fits over the throttle body here. Just slide it back out of the way. Next, you're going to take an 8mm socket or a wrench. I used a wrench because I couldn't find my sockets. You're going to loosen these 4 screws, this one on each side, and you're going to remove this throttle body all the way off and take it completely off. Now on this back side here, there is an O-ring, and a new one comes with the throttle body, so you'll remove that. Just take your screwdriver very carefully, take this one off, and put the... This is the O-ring. This is the old O-ring that came off of the old one. I saved that just in case something may happen to the new one. It's still in good shape. Once you replace the new one, and of course this is a new one, and I'm not going to go through all the sequence because this is very easy for you guys to do and save yourself $120 per hour from going to the Ford dealership. You put the new gasket in and you replace these 4 screws. Now this is where you'll need a torque wrench. You want to torque these at about 90 pounds, each one of these. This is plastic, so you don't want to over tighten this and crack this plastic housing here. So definitely don't do that. So use your torque wrench to make sure that you get these tight. Put your throttle body, put this boot back on the throttle body, tighten the screw up, and then reverse all of these connections that I just showed you. Tighten all of those back up. And I'm going to stick this one back in, this boot. There you go. That's easy enough, ain't it? And last but not least, we want to hook our battery terminal here, back up, make sure it is tight. So I wasn't sure whether this had a code on it or not. So from what I researched, and I found out, once I hooked the battery back up, I got back in the vehicle, and from what I understand, to reset the code is you have to turn your switch on. Just turn it on enough to where the lights come on. You will mash your accelerator within 3 seconds, really slow, all the way down to the floor, and you release it quickly. And by doing so, it resets the computer. And see, I see my light is blinking there, so it's accepted the code. The engine light just blinked 3 times and accepted the code, and that sets the computer to read your foot pedal. And so I've driven this truck for approximately 100 to 150 miles since doing these same things that I just showed you, and all seems well. Throttle body seems to be doing real good. Hey guys, I hope you've seen something that'll help you with your vehicle. Hey guys, and you remember, it's a wild life, and I'll see you in the field.